Chad. Oh, Jesus. Oh, game over. Game over for me. Game over for you. Arigato. Yeah. Guys, there it is. There it is. I was not ready. I thought the worst movie I'd see this week was The Bye-Bye Man. You know? Something that truly incompetent. But lo and behold, I was wrong. I can safely say, chat, I know what the fuck I was talking about. Christian, thank you for the host. Welcome to the stream. I need the support tonight, guys. After what I have witnessed. What I started last night and finished here. Finished right before streaming, chat. I feel dirty. I honestly do. It's just like, oh, I wasted part of my life watching Dungeons and Dragons. The classic, the infamous, the revolting 2000 film based on the fantasy RPG board game, which everyone loves. And I'm thinking, like, after all that stuff that was surrounding that you know, just Dungeons and Dragons in general, the game, all the various spin-offs and everything, like, this is what you could produce? This was the best you could come up with? I'm like, oh my god. It's a sad day, Chad. That was a sad day for cinema. Now, Martin Scorsese, he's always upset about these goddamn Marvel movies, but if he saw this film, then he'd be like, I'm done. I can't. We can't. It's over. Cinema is over now that Dungeons and Dragons made its premiere back in 2000. Actually, cinema's been dead for 20 goddamn years, Chad. We didn't even know it. Welcome to the stream, everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? Enjoying your Wednesday evening? Oh, I don't know if I'm enjoying mine right now. Oh, we got Chris Harris. Huzzah! Oh, yes, this fucking movie. Exactly. That's a perfect description. That should be on the goddamn poster. This fucking movie, ... That's what it should be. I wouldn't go that far, but say, hey, man, I saw this shit. I know. JT, welcome to stream. So today's the day Chris takes over Nostalgia Critic's crown. Oh, my God. I would never compare myself to that man. He does great work. I am just a humble Twitch streamer providing humble content to my fantastic followers and subscribers. I do this for you, chat. It's all for you. But thank you, JT. Welcome to stream. Sarah, happy stream day. Isn't it a happy stream day? It'll be happy for you guys after I tell you the goddamn tale of Dungeons and Dragons. Holy shit. Marlon Wayans' greatest performance. I think this came out the same year that he did Requiem for a Dream, like 2000, right? So he did Requiem for a Dream, which a lot of people consider to be his greatest performance of his entire career, and Dungeons and Dragons. And you think, oh, like Marlon Wayans. No, I'm not even getting into it yet. I can't get into it yet, chat. I have to prepare you for this. Lucky Dog Podcast, welcome to stream again. Christian, thank you for the host. Oh, the movie, not tabletop. Yeah, we're talking about the movie based on the tabletop game. And they did it a goddamn disservice. That I can tell you. Oh, chat. Jermaine, welcome. Hey, Chris, Birds of Prey is getting great reviews. How many good movies before DC gets the hats off? Hats off of them? Hats off to them? It's been 3 good movies in a row. Well, no, I mean, I've really enjoyed Shazam. I really enjoyed Joker. I was not a big Aquaman fan. I did not particularly care for that film. But no, I've really enjoyed, as I said, Shazam and Joker. And I liked a lot of Wonder Woman, not all of it. But we'll see. I was none too impressed by those trailers. Although, guys, I'll probably be adding Suicide Squad to the list since, of my bad films to review on stream, since with, Birds of Prey coming out relatively soon. So that was suggested by Chris Ayers. So again, thank you, Chris Ayers, for that wonderful suggestion. Yes, very loosely based on D&D. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm not too... I'll get... You know what, guys? Before you even get into the stream, I want to keep saying hello to you. I'll tell you about my time spent with D&D. It's a limited amount of time, but my kind of experiences with the game, what I know about it and things. I'll share that with you before we get into it. Yeah, so what else do we have in here? Sorry for the suggestion. I suffered through it also. Oh, no, Sarah. It is a fantastic suggestion. Because this is the kind of bad film you just have to watch with a group of people just to realize, like, wow, this was a complete and total failure all across the board. And there's some unintentionally funny stuff. I mean, really. And some of the people they have in this movie, too. who are just as bad as every other aspect of this film. Omar, what's up? Good to see you, my man. Coco Chops. Oh, so this is the movie that broke you. I mean, The Bye Bye Man broke me. That definitely broke me. So at least I'm just kind of used to it. But I think maybe this, I don't know. I'm undecided, chat. The Bye Bye Man was just boring. I think this is also boring too, but it's also, it's cringy. It's just cringy because you're just watching it like this the entire time. And occasionally you'll get like a laugh because someone does something really goofy throughout the film, unintentionally funny, where they're meant to be serious, and yeah, it gets a laugh, but the dialogue and the humor, you're just like, what is happening? Like that kind. It's the cringe level, chat. The cringe level in this movie is at a 9 or a goddamn 10. Austin, we rolling twos? Or the dices? I don't know what the hell you just said. Austin, good to see you. D20s. Talking about planes and fireballs. I don't know, what are you talking about? That's that D&D talk. I don't understand that on my stream, but we'll get into it. Maybe you can explain that stuff to me, Austin. Chris, I felt like I'm going to kill you at some of my suggestions. Probably will. Chris Sierra said, that's a horrible suggestion. We all need to forget about the Suicide Squad. Now I'm going to do it, man. I haven't seen that movie since a release in theaters, back in 2016. I'm going to make that sacrifice for you. Or at least I'm going to add to the list so you guys can vote on it. So we'll see. Maybe I won't have to see it. Maybe you guys will take pity on me. Shin Khan doesn't really matter comparing DC movies anymore because they don't have much of a shared universe these days. That's absolutely true. I think at this point they're going to see what works, and then they'll start connecting things, when they think like, oh, now we can finally do that. It'll be haphazard, but at least they're making, as Jermaine said earlier, they are starting to make good movies. I did not like Aquaman whatsoever, but Shazam was great. Loved that adaptation of the character. It had a lot of the heart that the DC cinematic universe was missing. And Joker was just a really cool spin-off movie. The experimental take on a character, but still being very, respectful of the source material and the character itself. Yes. Jermaine, the first 30 minutes of Suicide Squad was decent. I don't know about those first 30 minutes, man. I honestly can't remember how the movie starts. I can't remember a thing about it. Yes. Angela, good to see you. Hello, are you starting already? I'm just starting. You just tuned in right here, right now. I've only been streaming for less than 10 minutes. I'm going to get into my movie review of the classic 2000 film, Dungeons & Dragons. Award-worthy. Not the awards that you want, but award-worthy in some aspects. Good to see you, Angela. Omar, the D&D movie is so cringe. Exactly, it's so cringe. It's great in a weird way. I mean, it's great because it's unintentionally funny. That's like a big focal point with me for bad movies. It's like Blind Fury is a perfect example. Like, it's a bad film all around, but there's moments, actually a lot of moments in that movie where you just can't help but laugh at it because it's so goofy and terrible. And that's what makes it watchable. And this movie has those moments, but then it tries to also be funny at the same time, and that's where the cringe come in. That's when it's like, oh my god, why are they taking this so seriously? That's when it doesn't work. Corbin, Hunter Armstrong, good to see you. Shinkan, you see the WB animated Mortal Kombat movie. Hopefully it's as good as the DC animated movies. I did see that. Yeah, it's from the guy that did Assault on Arkham, one of my favorites in the last few years. Really enjoyed that. Honestly, that's what the Suicide Squad movie should have been. Them infiltrating Arkham City. Them going up against the Joker. The Suicide Squad's not supposed to take on world-ending threats. They're a goddamn team of, assassins and delinquents, and yeah, they got a couple of metahumans, but for the most part, they handle like the Black Ops missions. The missions that ordinary soldiers, that our government's not going to send them on because they would obviously die. It's a suicide mission. That's why they send the expendable people, chat. And that's what that movie should have been. It was, but no, they have to face an Aztec god about to destroy the city and also the world. Okay, yeah. Let's send Harley Quinn in with her fucking baseball bat, or Deadshot with his little wrist guns. That'll work perfectly. That movie was flawed from its inception. The person they got to direct it, write it, the actors they had cast in the film, yeah, that was an accident waiting to happen. And it was. It made money though, made a shit ton of money. But that's why they were rebooting it now, Chan. Hopefully James Gunn's take, which I actually like the Suicide Squad from the comics. I love the whole concept of the Suicide Squad. So hopefully Gunn, he basically looks at what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and he understood those characters and how the bunch, criminals and delinquents, but they were kind of a family to a certain extent. Maybe applies that formula to a certain extent on the Suicide Squad, which I'm sure he will. I think he understands the source material. I'm looking forward to that movie. See, Jermaine? That's a DC film I am looking forward to. I can't wait to see James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Sarah, because you have to roll 20 for sanity because of the film. Is that a thing? So, this like a 20-sided dice and 20's the best number? I hope so. Crow, welcome to stream! Austin, apparently I don't understand the references you're saying. I'm so confused. Austin, James Gunn, writer of Lollipop Chainsaw. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Jermaine, did you see the 2 animated Suicide Squad movies? Yes, I like both of them. Assault on Arkham and Hell to Pay. There's a cool little important Easter egg in that film that connects it to another DC film. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but it's really awesome what it does. But I think we're just going to jump into it, guys. Hold on, give me a second. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather. We're going to shake the goddamn pillars of heaven tonight, Chad. I promise you. I need this. Oh, God, I need it. I'm almost out of alcohol, Chad. This is my last alcoholic beverage. This is all I got. Pray for me. Don, you're not late at all, man. I'm just about to start reviewing. Just talking about the Suicide Squad. Excuse me, Chad. I gotta blow my nose for a second. My allergies, guys. My allergies have been acting up these past few days, so apologies. I have to momentarily take a break just to clear the nasal passages. Oh, here we go. But no, welcome, Don. Hope you're doing very well tonight. So, guys, we're just gonna get right into it. Okay? So, for those of you who don't know, Dungeons & Dragons came out in 2000. It's directed by a guy named Courtney Solomon. Now, you probably never heard that name before, but I'm curious about this guy because he has a Wikipedia page. And I'm like, okay, so did he do Dungeons & Dragons and like one other film? That was it? No, he's still working today, by the way. He's been working, his first film, director-producer on, was Dungeons & Dragons. So this was the start of his career. It wasn't the end of his career, it was the goddamn start of it. And he did a whole bunch of other films after that. Most famously, he's a producer on a lot of stuff. Like, he's directed a couple of movies. I think it's about, like, three films. And he's produced and written for, or mostly just produced. He's written one other movie. It was American Haunting, which I never saw. He also directed and produced that. And the rest of his career, he's been spending as a producer. About, 24 films, I'd say? I'll give you examples. So, starting the career of Dungeons and Goddamn Dragons, you got that. Then he did American Haunting. He produced the sequel to this movie, because there are sequels to this film, chat, and also a third film as well, called Dungeons & Dragons Wrath of the Dragon God, which came out in 2005. He's the producer behind Universal Soldier Regeneration, did the Butterfly Effect 3, Revelations. Oh, God. Did a ton of Sci-Fi Channel original movies, Scream of the Banshee. Another Universal Soldier film, Day of Reckoning. I think he did a video game adaptation, The Getaway. Oh, no, that was with Ethan Hawke. I remember this one. It was a terrible movie. Yeah, it was really bad. What was Cake? I don't even know what that is. Oh, he did this. You guys probably heard of this one because it's been talked about on Double Toast in the past. He did Mr. Church with Eddie Murphy, where Eddie Murphy basically plays a servant to this white family for the rest of his life. And, Eddie Murphy was, really passionate about that film. He thought that was going to kind of reinvigorate his career, but then it was just widely mocked. Because it's a terrible film, chat. I haven't seen the whole thing, so maybe it's not right for me to say, but I've seen a lot of clips from that film. And, it's, again, the cringe comes in there, chat. The awkwardness, the bad dialogue. Not a great film. He's done 4 other movies after that. Something called Burn Your Maps, The Comedian, The Yellow Birds, and last year, 2019, The Woman in the Window. I don't know what that's about. I'm not going to click on the Wikipedia page. But I'll spend the rest of my life, chat, not clicking on Women in the Window. I don't care about that film. But like I said, he did start his career with Dungeons and Dragons. And I think he was heavily inspired, not so much by the board game, but video games in the late 90s and very early 2000s. Because when this movie opens up, because you get it kind of Lord of the Rings-esque to a certain degree, chat, where it's all foggy and darkness, and you have this, the bombastic score and everything. It's like, oh, it's setting the mood. Okay, Middle Ages, Dark Ages, knights, swords, dragons, wizards. Okay, I get the tone you're setting. And so after we go through this, mysterious mist and everything, setting that ambiance, we get a bit of a narration. And that's when the fucking exposition just starts flowing, chat. Because this movie breaks a rule that I that really bothers me in film, where they're just dialogue just exists to give you exposition, not to build characters. It's like, we got to get from point A to point B to point C all the way to Z, and most of the dialogue that we'll be saying is just to fill you in on the plot, basically to reiterate what's happening so you understand, and will basically describe the characters in really rudimentary, dumb ways. And that, as soon as that happened right off the bat, I was like, here we fucking go. Basically, it's the shitty version of Lord of the Rings, which you actually got next year. Because this came out in 2000, then we got Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King. So good stuff did come from it. Peter Jackson clearly watched this movie and went, fuck, I can't do that. And so he brought his A game to those films. But the movie opens up basically saying that the Dungeons and Dragons world is controlled by an empire called Zmir. We're just going to call it Dungeons and Dragons world, but it's called Zmir. And it's a divided land, apparently, guys. They got a class system in here. It's ruled by a kind queen/princess whose name escapes me at the moment because she's barely in the movie. Savina, Emperor. Oh, she's the Empress chap, like Empress Rey. It's Empress Savina, and she's in control of this divided land. You know, she's actually trying to make reforms because, chap, the people of this world, the top people are the mages. Anyone who has like magical abilities, you are a first-class citizen. And if you don't have magic, you are shit. You are garbage. You live in servitude to the mages and the royal family. I guess Empress Savine, even though there's only one of her. So that's what we're setting up here right now. That's the world that we're building, a divided class system. And Savina's like, well, listen, you know, yes, I have magic and everything, but I want to make reforms. All life should be treated equally. It doesn't matter if you know magic or if you don't. You know, you can have many types of skills. Don't let magic define who you are. And she wants to do reforms, and wizards are like, fuck that. We don't want that. We want to keep those goddamn mud people under our heel. And the guy who's leading them, chat, Jeremy Irons. And Jeremy Irons, he's got a goddamn plan. He's like, all right, listen. First thing we got to do is we got to overthrow Empress Savina because she's no good with all these reforms. She's too progressive. No, let's keep them, all the mud people, as slaves. And so he's like, okay, I got an idea. The only way to overthrow the Empress and to, you know, basically we get control of the mages, but really it's, you know, Jeremy Irons, he wants control for himself. He wants to be a goddamn dictator. He's like, we got to control the gold dragons. There's different colored dragons in D&D, chat. Don't ask me which one is better than the other. I don't fucking know. Apparently there's blue dragons, green dragons, black dragons, white dragons. In this film, there's only two types, which, okay, it's simplified it. They got gold dragons and red dragons. Red dragons come later in the film. Right now, I'm just focusing on the gold dragons. That's what the gold dragons are, controlled by the Empress. But Jeremy Irons is like, if I get those fucking gold dragons from her, I can take over this entire empire and do whatever the fuck I want. And so, after we get through all the fanfare and exposition, you know, the mist and all that, the bombastic music, we then open to a 2000s era PC game cutscene. It looks so terrible, chat. This is some of the worst CGI that I've probably ever seen in my life. It looks like it's like a screensaver. It's like just a moving screensaver. It's just like Windows 95 type shit. It is embarrassing, and these poor actors, a lot of them are not very good, chat. They're not, and the fact that they have to react to things that are obviously not there, and it is, again, that's where the cringe comes in. Because all the expressions they're making clearly would not have relation to what's actually happening in front of them. Like, some of them are shocked, some of them are happy. It's just truly bizarre. Like, in a situation, they'd be horrifying, but they're just laughing and joking. You know, it'll happen in right a bit. So, get a 2000s era, you know, Windows wallpaper cutscene. We go through this terrible looking CGI castle to like this a dungeon, chat. Like the movie, go through a dungeon, and we see Jeremy Irons just chewing scenery. Because clearly they did not have a script to work from, because most of his performance is that's it. I'm serious. I'm not joking. He's just going, he's making guttural noises, and he's doing this smile, because I think he's trying to, like, force the magic to work. And he's working his magic on this green scepter. And we don't know why yet, but he's just forcing everything he has in this goddamn thing. And, we see the typical medieval fanfare, the dungeon people, guards, and all that. Oh, by the way, their suits look terrible. It's like this red-black armor, and it looks super plasticky and fake. So clearly they wouldn't make that kind of shit in the Middle Ages, or, at least in Dungeons & Dragons. They put a little more hard work into it. It looks bad. And so he's forcing all his magic and willpower into the staff. And then up walks behind him is this bald thick daddy, whose name is Demora, I think, but I'm not going to call him Demora, chat, because he has one defining feature, and that he wears blue lipstick, so we're just going to call him Blue Lips. Because he just walks up and he looks goddamn ridiculous. But he's very large and thick, but Blue Lips is like, all right, I'm going to watch Jeremy Irons and see what he's going to be doing. Jeremy Irons, he infuses the staff with his essence. His essence and magic and things. And Blue Lips is like, oh, fuck, you did it, man. You used your magic on the staff. Jeremy Irons is like, yes, I did. And that's exactly how he's acting throughout the film, chat. I'm not exaggerating. He gets the staff. He's looking at it. He's like, he's proud of himself. And he should be. He forced a lot of energy into that thing. And he's like, okay, bring him in. And then we cut to another scene, again, in front of a terrible CGI Windows-esque wallpaper of a giant gate that's slowly being raised up by these, mud people who clearly don't know magic whatsoever. And then in their chat is one of the absolute worst CGI dragons I've ever seen in film. This thing looks so fake. It looks almost, it's cartoonish in a way. It's like, how does this thing match the world you're trying to develop here? These two things can't coexist with each other. It's a god-awful effect. But chat, this is one of the gold dragons. Oh! General Sorty, thank you so much for the 1,050 biddies! General reporting! Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for your generosity, my man. That's going towards the next thing right now, chat. We're going to put a pause on the review, and I'll get right back into it. That's going to go towards my next movie review, guys. Let me get my little calculator out so I can keep track of all this good stuff. Thank you so much, my man. How you doing today? Ooh, 10:50. Excellent. Yay! Oh, getting hype. I love it. Throat singing. Very much, yeah, that's what Jeremy Irons is. He's trying to, something's stuck in his throat, and he's just trying to vomit it up, but he can't, Chad. And Jeremy Irons is slowly choking to death throughout this entire film, trying to force out this dialogue, trying to work with absolutely nothing, and then we get basically a slowly dying Jeremy Irons. That's how I would describe his performance. And we've never really seen that before. Someone just dies throughout the entirety of the film. And this becomes terrible. Troy, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Ryan Walterson, every time Irons is on screen, I'm laughing he's giving his all, man. He's working with nothing, but he's trying his damnedest. So again, General, thank you for the 1,050 video, guys. Again, I do have a goal for tonight. I was going to set up another poll, but again, work got crazy. I had to work late. Got home at 6:30, chat. I worked from 7:30 to 6:30. It's been a goddamn long day. But I'll be setting up a poll probably sometime on Friday then. That's going to be a consistent thing. So then you'll see how the donations are increasing. When we hit 25, it's like, yay, we can vote. So that goes towards my future movie review, the future voting. But yeah, okay, so we cut back to the scene. The door opens up. Shitty looking CGI gold dragons right there. It honestly looks... they just gave up. They're like, whatever, who cares? And Jim Irons is like, oh, I control you! And he's using the staff on the dragon. Dragon's like, he's struggling with it. Burns some of the mud people or whatever. But Jeremy Irons does manage to get control of the dragon. And Bloom's like, fuck, man, you did it. This is awesome. He's like, yeah. But chat is not powerful enough because the staff starts to power down. And the dragon, starts freaking out and everything like that. And Jeremy's like, oh shit, I can't have control. Lower the gates, lower the blast doors. And they lower the goddamn blast doors, chat. And they fucking cut the head off of this goddamn dragon. Or at least impale its head into the goddamn ground. Spikes and everything. And then you see this terrible CGI blood start leaking out. And Jeremy Irons is like, well, that didn't work. I guess we gotta go to plan B. And that is to, convince the Council of Mages, because they rule this, they're like Parliament, I guess, to a degree, Chad. It's very much like a Parliament, I believe, where Jeremy Irons is the Prime Minister, you have the giant Council of Wizards, and then you have the monarchy with Empress Savina, okay? And he's like, okay, since this didn't work, what we gotta do is, I have to convince the Council of Wizards to convince Empress Savina to give up her golden dragon staff. and to us. And so then, because, you know, she wants to do all these reforms and stuff, she wants to cause civil war, chaos. We can't have that, not at all. And so when she gives up her dragon staff, we will take it, and then we will bring order and peace across the galaxy. I mean, the world, the land, and it'll be good. And, you know, and Blue Lips is like, yeah, man, I fucking agree, man. Let's do it. And so they walk off. And meanwhile, we follow the terrible-looking CGI blood. And it goes... Oh, by the way, they're like in a dungeon. Again, Dungeons and Dragons. A dragon was literally in a dungeon. Yeah. The blood kind of drifts over to the sewer system because they're like in a sewer dungeon. And it hits like the waterway. And it just fucking bursts into flames. So either the water's extremely flammable or that dragon was like super sick of something. I hope that's not drinking water, though, because then it erupts in flames, and we fall all the way out into the outside where we were at the start of the Windows 95 wallpaper. And, like, the whole goddamn lake is on fire. And then we see Dungeons and Dragons, you know, the title of the movie. It's like, oh, wow, what a great intro. And then, Chad, we meet our main players here, and we cut to, I don't know the actor's name, who played Ridley. You know, he's the handsome hero, and he's with his sidekick, his boy. Marlon Wayans. Now you think like, okay, well, clearly these guys are going to try to be, you know, of the times, right? You know, they're going to try to, you know, speak in the type of dialogue one would hear, you know, during the Middle Ages, or the Dark Ages, or at least that dragon and dungeon speak, you know? Just like light Shakespearean, you know, thous and all that. But it's like, nope. These guys don't give a shit about that, especially Marlon Wayans, because he's like, whoa, you see that fucking fire on the lake, baby? And it's like incredibly offensive and stereotypical. I am not joking, Chad. It is terrible. And Ridley's like, yes, Marlon Wayans, I do. Oh, by the way, Marlon Wayans, I'm just going to call him Marlon Wayans throughout the review because his name, again, because he's the goofy black sidekick throughout the entire film, his name is Snails. And it's like, listen, Marlon Wayans is already playing such a stereotypical character in this movie. I mean, he's not supposed to. He shouldn't have to. This is a fantasy world. Why is he playing that type of character that he plays in every other movie that he does? The least you could do is give him a middle-aged, you know, Dungeons and Dragons-esque name. Like, the guy who, like, Justin Whalen, he's the guy who plays Ridley. Like, Ridley's like, oh, yeah, that's a cool sounding name. You got Savina, you got Jeremy Irons, his name is, Pontiff or something, I don't know. But why are you gonna name the only black guy in the movie Snails? It's like, oh my god. And so they're watching the terrible CGI lake that's on fire. We find out they're actually criminals, chat. They belong to the Thieves Guild of this particular city, the capital city of the Vishnu Empire. And they're like, wow, you know, those fucking mages. Always causing nonsense, always repressing the people. We gotta, you know, we should do something to them, Snails. And Snails is like, what should we do, really? And it's like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that. That's how he speaks throughout the entire film, guys. It's incredibly offensive. And really, it's like, you know what we should do? We should burglarize the mage school. It's like they don't have a fancy name for, like, you know, the mages where they practice their arts, chat, like the mages college or you know like a Hogwarts-esque name. No, it's just called the Mage School. Isn't that kind of lame to me? I think that's pretty lame. Would you call that in your Dungeons and Dragons movie just the Mage School? That sounds pretty fucking dull. But, you know, Snail's like, I don't want to rob and or burglarize the Mage School. Those mages are crazy, as he eloquently says. And Ridley's like, nah, come on, man. They have all this gold and jewels. We'll be set for life if we burglarize them. He's like, all right, you convinced me. Let's go ahead and burglarize the Mage School. And then we cut back to Jeremy Irons, who he's now presenting himself in front of the Council of Wizards, and he basically doing the whole spiel that I told you earlier. It's like, okay, listen, Empress Savina, she's trying to make all these reforms. We don't want that. We want to keep things the way they are. We want her to abdicate the throne and give us the golden dragon staff rod. No, we call it the rod, yeah, golden dragon rod. So you know, we will have maintained peace throughout the empire. And they're like, all right, I mean, that kind of sounds good, but they're still like, not everyone's convinced right now. You know, they still need more convincing. And Jeremy Irons like, all right, I'll get these old fucks to see it my way. And then we cut to Empress Savina for the first time in the movie, chat. His character who has had so much importance because everyone's talking about her. And damn it, if she is not one of the worst... I mean, everyone's terrible in the movie, but she is one of the worst actors in this film. And she cannot deliver a line of dialogue without saying, I am concerned about the Jeremy Irons guy. He wants to take my staff. It's like, it is amateurish to the point, like, it's like high school students, like, reading their lines for the first time for a play. It is pathetic. And she's talking to her best friend, wizard guy. He's like one of the good ones. She's like, no, I want to, you know what? I want to help out the mud people just like you do, but you got to watch out for Jeremy Irons. You know, he's up to, like, some nonsense. He's like, I agree. And, you know, he goes off and he's like, okay, I'm going to help you. You know, we're going to find another dragon rod so he doesn't get it. Or maybe that's it. I don't remember what he does. But no, he's just doing magic stuff, I think. And he goes away and Savina's very concerned. Then we cut back to Ridley and Marlon Wayans, and they're infiltrating the magic school, excuse me. I call it the mage school, chat, making it sound a little bit cooler, but I forgot. It's just called magic school. And so they're infiltrating it. Again, shenanigans. Marlon Wayans, he's just touching everything. Crazy things happening. Things are popping out. He's screaming. He's going, ah! Like all that stuff. Again, it's very embarrassing. They just shouldn't be doing it. Ridley's like, oh, Marlon Wayans, why are you so dumb? Like, stuff like that. It's like, oh, no. Now, during all this commotion that's happening in the magic school, we cut back to the old wizard guy who's the best friend of Savina. He's talking to his apprentice. I'm going to call her Mimi. I think her name is like Mariana, but I'm going to call her Mimi. And he's chastising Mimi. He's like, where did you leave that goddamn book, girl? Aren't you good for anything? She's like, I'll find it, master. He's like, oh, you didn't put it in the right spot. It's right here. What are you doing? And he takes the book out, and he's like researching, and master, we gotta find the dragon rod for the red dragons or something. We can't let Jeremy Irons get it. And they're like both looking at this book with this map on it and everything. And then they hear the commotion that Ridley and Marlon Wayans are causing in the other room, because they're right across the other way, chap. And Mimi's like, I'll go investigate, master. And she sees Marlon Wayans just hopping around. Ridley, is like, oh, Marlon Wayans, why are you doing this? And she's like, stop, you guys are thieving. And they're like, we're not thieves. We're again, it's trying to be funny, chat. We're janitors. We're just here to clean everything. She's like, nah, you're full of shit. And then she uses some really terrible After Effects, chat. A lot of After Effects in this movie. Like 1995-esque After Effects, where she throws a terrible-looking CGI rope that Ridley and Marlon Wayans have to pretend is actually around them, and then they switch it out later for like a real rope, and she's like, I got you, and then all of a sudden behind her, she hears, ah! And that's because her master is getting got by Blue Lips. Oh, that's the other thing, chat. Jeremy Irons sent Blue Lips to go get the map to the red dragon rod, and Blue Lips, oh, and he also said, kill Savina's wizard friend. He's like, will do. And so he's out there, and he's like, he beat the shit out of the old wizard guy. He's like on his knees and everything. And Mimi's like, what are you doing, master? No. And the wizard's like, don't tell him anything. And then he uses his magic to throw the book and or map that they were looking at towards Mimi. Mimi catches it. And fucking Blue Lips just kills the old wizard man. And he's dead. And Mimi's like, no! Like, very much like a Luke Skywalker-esque, like, no, chat. Because, that was her father figure. Her Ben Kenobi, if you will, chat. And she's like, well, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I can't take on Blue Lips and his whole entourage. So she uses some After Effects fairy dust. She makes a terrible CGI portal that she hops into. And she's, still holding on to Ridley and Marlon Wayans. And they go through the portal with her. And then they end up outside of the castle. Because now they're just panicked. Because, okay, we're all in this together at this point. We gotta just get the fuck out of here. Because we will all die. Because Blue Lips, he's not to be fucked with. And they're kind of running, but the portals doesn't really go that far because it's like right outside the castle. And they land on top of a garbage heap where a smelly, severely drunken and or mentally disabled dwarf is living in. And, he joins them. He's like, what are you doing? I'm sleeping here. He's doing one of those things. And he sees Blue Lips coming up to him because Blue Lips is like right there. He's like, you weren't very far. You literally just teleported maybe like 20 feet away. I saw out the window. I just went downstairs. Here I am. And then the dwarf, he starts swinging his big old axe at Blue Lips. And he gets, Blue Lips like knocks him away, but then the dwarf gets one on him, Chad. He then trips him with his axe. He's like, oh, and he falls over. And then the dwarf, he runs back to his new friends because they're all friends now, and they slide down the goddamn garbage chute one by one. I wonder what that's referencing, chat. And so they end up in the sewer, and eventually they end up outside the city, and that's when they all start arguing and bickering. Marlon Wayans, he's screaming, and he's want to be a part of this. The dwarf, he's just sitting there because he's their friend now, I guess. I don't know what the dwarf's name is, chat. He's just a redheaded dwarf. We're gonna call him the dwarf. Sorry. But Mimi's like, you know what? No, we have to get the red dragon rod. Because Jeremy Irons clearly sent Blue Lips to come and kill us because he wants power from Empress Savina. Because, you know, she wants to enact all the reforms, and Ridley and Marlon's like, nah, you're full of shit. Mages, you're the absolute worst. You know, they're judging her, and she judges them right back. Well, you're just smelly mud people. And they're like, so there's a lot of difference, Chet. Despite her, you know, being all high and mighty, saying, no, we want to help the mud people, but she still has her prejudices, Chet. Much like Ridley and Marlon Wayans do. There's some tension right now. And the dwarf, he's just sitting there. He's like, all right, I guess we're going to keep waiting until they stop bickering. And then finally, they're like, okay, well first of all, let's think about this. Let's go get something to eat and drink and get to the next town. And they're like, all right, sure, let's do that. And then the dwarf, they put, what about this guy? And he says, well, I'll help you if you pay me. And they're like, oh, talk to her. And she's like, I'll pay you later. And then it cuts to a very meta moment, chat, where the dwarf is just breaking the fourth wall and talking to us as the audience. Is like, and then it goes on for way too long. And he's like, that doesn't sound good. And then he leaves. Like, it's that long. I'm not fucking joking. It's like, no, cut. All right, fuck it. Who was that? Who was that hosting me? Hold on, chat. I forgot to open Streamlabs up. Oh, General, thank you for the host. The hosts really do help spread the word of the Revenants. Hope you're enjoying the review so far. Julian, welcome to stream. How you doing? Is there movies ahead of its time? It tries to be. All right, Tim, what movie is this even? Yeah, D&D. No, it's Dungeons & Dragons, the movie. That's what it is. I don't know if it's an adaptation of a particular campaign or anything, but that's what they're trying to do. It's bizarre. Oh, was my chat up here before? Oh, that's weird. I don't think my chat was there before. It upsets me, chat. Anyway, so yeah, they go to a town, and, you know, they're just talking everything. They order some food. The dwarf, man, he's just stuffing himself with chicken and pork, you know, being all gross and shit. And Ridley and Mimi, they're still bickering. They're like, nah, you know, you're prejudiced, we're prejudiced. We just want to steal stuff. You know, fuck you and your queen or whatever. We're getting out of here. And it's like, Mimi's like, no. You have to help me, because the way to potentially find the dragon staff or the dragon rod, there might be gold there. And they're like, oh, fucking gold and jewels and shit. Okay, we're thieves. We dig that. Absolutely. And so Mimi, she opens up this map. And this is where I get really fucking confused, chat. This is when it starts to get really just nonsensical. The map apparently can take you to different worlds or whatever. Or different places, I guess. And Mimi, she tries to activate it using magic so they can go inside the map? Is that how it goes? Now it gets nice. I mean, it was already nonsensical, but this is the part where it's like, okay, what are you doing? And so she tries to activate the magic map, and she doesn't work for her, even though she's a mage, chat. And, you know, Ridley's like, well, you know what, why don't you let me try it? And so he does, and he just gets right in there, chat. He's a goddamn natural. He might as well just went to magic school himself and not Mimi. Clearly, he's more talented. And so he gets inside the map, and then Mimi eventually wills herself inside the map, and they're just inside a map. And you see them briefly, they're just talking, and that's it. And then we cut to Marlon Wayans, who's fucking freaking out because he just saw his best friend and this girl he just met sucked into a piece of paper. And the dwarf's like, it's a living, you know, again, terrible. The dwarf is a useless character throughout the film, chat. He does one thing where he trips up Blue Lips, and that's about it. And then he's just there to stare at the camera and just waddle around. That's the only purpose he serves. And so then for the next, I would say 10 minutes, it's just the Marlon Wayans show to a certain degree. You know, he's, you know, walking around the bar. He's, you know, he's hitting on this hot elf girl who's also... who may be more than what she says, and he's hitting on her, and it's a lot of bad humor. It doesn't work. We cut back to the castle with, or I don't know, the fucking mage city. I don't know what the hell it is. with Blue Lips reporting to Jeremy Irons saying, hey, man, they got away. I kind of fucked up. And Jeremy Irons like, yes, you fucking did. All right, listen. I'm going to let you go out there and get him because I need that dragon rod in order to, take on Savina. But I got to teach you a lesson. And he proceeds then to put a hentai creature in this man's tummy. He fucking shoots something at him. And then you see, again, a very terrible CGI, but also kind of horrific moment where this tentacled creature is, like, moving around his neck and his head and everything. He's going, again, all the faces, like all that kind of shit. And you see, and then you're like, oh my God, it's gonna come out of his mouth or something. It's come out of his butt. No, chat. It comes out of his ears. Like these two little vines with like little eyeballs pop out. He's like, oh, and they go back inside his head. And Jeremy Irons is like, listen, you find me that map and that dragon rod, and I'll take the hentai monster out of you. He's like, okay, I'll do it. It's like, Jesus Christ. Jeremy Irons is in some kinky fucking shit in this movie. And so then we cut back to Marlon Wayans. He's still hitting on the hot elf girl. The dwarf, he's still just fucking stuffing his face and everything. And then, but the dwarf, he notices. He sees goddamn Blue Lips with the hentai monster inside of him walk into the restaurant / bar / inn that they're in. And he's like, shit, I gotta get Marlon Wayans. And so he starts waddling down, and he starts causing a ruckus, chat. He starts throwing tables and people around because he wants to start a bar fight, a brawl, if you will, in order to distract Blue Lips. And then eventually he grabs Marlon Wayans, and they get the fuck out of there. We say goodbye to the hot elf girl for right now. She comes back later in the film, chat. A very weird part in the movie. And then they kind of go to the same spot that they were earlier when they're deciding where to fucking go. And then all of a sudden, goddamn Ridley and Mimi pop out of the map, and then they just deliver exposition, because apparently they went on an adventure we don't see. And they talked to a goddamn wraith, and they fought skeletons, and a whole bunch of other nonsense that would have been much cooler than watching Marlon Wayans hit on this elf girl and watching a hentai monster and its little tentacle veins popping out of the Blue Lips' head. That's what we had to watch together. And so that was lame. And so they again, just fucking vomiting exposition, what we got to do. Apparently, in order to find the dragon rod, which we found on the map, it's this jewel. It's this red ruby jewel that we got to get. And the map told us or the wraith who's inside the map, said it's in this town where it's in this specific town, in the headquarters of one of the other thieves guilds. And Ridley's like, well, fuck, I'm a thief. Snails, Marlon Wayans, he's a thief. We can just ingratiate ourselves. That's our people. Let's just go and talk to them. I'm sure they'll give us the ruby thing, and then we can get the dragon rod, and we can all be rich. It'll be great. And you can, do your reforms and everything, and then all the mud people can be equal. And so then they go to the town, and then we encounter some, if Andy Mauger was here, he would be very upset, Chet, because we encounter some of the worst just prosthetic and makeup work that I've seen in some time. Certainly of that era. Certainly of the very early 2000s, late 90s. And where, because you got the regular, townsfolk just walking around, selling their wares and everything. And then all of a sudden, you see this purple cyclop creature just walk out among them. And it looks so terrible and fake, chat. It does not. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, yeah, let's make him bright fucking purple with a big eye. And it doesn't help that the actor, I said Princess Savina is one of the worst actors in this thing. This guy is terrible. He can't deliver any dialogue. Because he has like these weird tics. He's licking his lip like, and he's doing all that. And just the way he delivers dialogue, like, I won't show you the Thieves Guild. Like, all that stuff. Because, Marlon Wayans and Ridley get the drop on him because they notice him stealing stuff. It's like, well, he's a fellow thief. Clearly, the Cyclops man. Because he's totally inconspicuous. Let's just, grab a hold of him and tell him where the Thieves Guild's at. And he's like, I'll never tell you. And he walks off, and I'm like, all right, fuck, we'll just follow him. He's easy to fucking spot. And so they just follow this guy who, even though he has 3 goddamn, because he has a regular Cyclops eye, and he has like 2 regular eyes. And no peripheral vision, no. And so Ridley and Mimi and the dwarf and Marlon Wayans, they just follow him to the entrance of the Thieves Guild. And it's like, oh shit, here it is. And they go inside, and they get surrounded by Thieves Guild guards, and the Cyclops guy's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, we just want to speak to your boss. We were here for the Red Ruby of Destiny. And he's like, oh, you should have told me that. I'll take you to the boss right away. And then they go to the boss chat, very effeminate. But, you know, he's a man who likes what he sees, and he doesn't care what anyone knows about him. Because he sees Mimi, he's like, ooh, I like you, little more. So he just starts slapping her ass, chat. It's like, Jesus Christ. Again, you know, women weren't treated very well during those times, Middle Ages, but still, this is Dungeons and Dragons. Come on. But he's just having his way. He's like, okay, listen, I'll help you guys out. I do have the Ruby of Destiny to show you where the red dragon rod is. But you gotta go in my maze. We gotta have a little fun. It's part of my thing. How I made all this vast wealth and money. You know? I didn't earn all this just thieving. He's like, okay, if you beat my maze of danger, well, you get the red ruby, because that's where it is. It's at the end of the maze. And Ridley's like, oh, I'm the best. I'm clearly the best one of them. Oh, by the way, they also take Marlon Wayans away for a bit. Like, the dwarf, Mimi, and Ridley are all together, but they just, I guess, take Marlon Wayans to jail, because we don't see him for this segment of the film. He's just gone completely. We don't have like a cut to what like he's doing or anything. He's just captured and sent somewhere else. It's like, okay, shit, well, that's kind of bizarre. So Ridley's like, okay, I'll do your maze. And so like the first, like, it's like three kind of, it's like shitty Indiana Jones, chat. It's very similar to that. And where he activates certain traps, one almost gets him in the balls, you know, right in the groin area. There's these swing axes, which he gets past. There's one where there's like these fire traps where if you step on the wrong thing, it activates fire. He has got like a wall coming up behind him. He'll get crushed. The door's closed and he jumps through. He gets to the red ruby. He's like, there's the red ruby. Exactly what I needed. And he goes ahead and he grabs. He's like, hey, I did it. And then the effeminate Thieves Guild guy's like, yay, celebration. And everyone's very, very happy. Am I getting this right so far? Let me correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Maybe I got my events mixed up, but I think that's where we are at this point. Red Dragon rod sounds like a straight euphemism. Oh, it does. Get the golden rod and the red rod. What's your favorite flavor, chat? Take any rod you want. And so he gets the red ruby, and everyone's very happy. Marlon Wayans is reunited. He's brought back where the fuck they were keeping him before, and he's happy too. He's glad not to be in prison or out of the movie. And the Thieves Guild's like, man, that was so much fun. Thank you so much, but I'll be taking my property back. And he's like, why? You said if I completed your maze and interchanged all your people, clearly you made a lot of money because they were betting on me to die and everything. And, you know, money was spent here, okay? He's like, I don't care. And so he's like, no. And then it's like, oh, like a fight's just about to break out. But then all of a sudden, fucking Blue Lips from before, chat, with his little hentai baby inside of him, he starts walking out and it's like, I want that goddamn map. Because he doesn't know about the ruby yet, chat. He actually has no idea. He just wants the map. So he started all the way from the fucking beginning. So he has to talk to the Wraith, but then he has to do the maze and find the ruby. It'd be arduous for Blue Lips Hentai Man. And so then a proper brawl breaks out between all the characters. Ridley is wrestling with the Thieves Guild leader. I don't know what... I think maybe he dies, or maybe he's just gone. I don't know what happens to him. Brief duel with Blue Lips. Marlon Wayans, again, he's being very stereotypical and goofy. The dwarf, he's somewhere, I don't know. But then, Blue Lips gets a hold of Mimi. And he's like, oh, if you don't give me the map, I'll kill her. And he's like, oh, that's not good. But then there's more of a ruckus, and they all get separated, but Blue Lips has Mimi. And he eventually takes her back to his hideout that he has. And he starts interrogating her. And this is like the first part of the movie where we actually kind of care about Blue Lips. Because at first he's just threatening her, using his, just intimidation tactics. Then he just fucking appeals to her. He's like, look into your heart. I have a hentai baby inside of me. And she's like, oh, that's like the worst thing ever. But and she's like, I can't help you. I'm sorry. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll just use my hentai monster against you. And then the hentai baby births out of his ear canals again. And it goes into her ear canals, chat. Because apparently, we just find out in the scene, the hentai baby can read minds. And so it goes through his ears, into her ears. She's just fucking screaming. Because anyone would. Having a hentai baby enter your ear holes. And he's doing, again, all the weird faces. Ugh. Ugh. Like all that's like, okay. This director might be in some kinky shit. Not kink shaming, chat, but it's like, it's a little obvious. But he obtains the information. he finds out about not only the map and all that, but also the red ruby. He's like, oh shit, I can skip all that shit of the map. I gotta find this red ruby. Meanwhile, Ridley and Marlon Wayans and the dwarf are like, oh, what the fuck we're gonna do? And suddenly they are come upon by the hot elf lady that was that Marlon Wayans was hitting on. And we find out that the hot elf lady, chat, she is a spy and tracker for Princess Savina. And so it's like, oh, so that really didn't make any sense at all. But okay, we'll just throw it in the film. Again, make audiences remember that, oh yeah, Princess Savina, her reforms, Jeremy Irons, the Mage Guild and all that, that's happening too. And so she's like, okay, well listen, I was just going to arrest you, but let me do a Skype call with Princess Savina, tell him what's what. She informs him of Jeremy Irons' deception, you know, what he's trying to do. He's trying to get the red dragon rod so he can fight against the gold dragon rod and all that. Starting a rebellion, chat, so he can gain power. And she's like, well, we can't have that. So what I need you to do is, I need you to help Ridley, Marlon Wayans, and the dwarf and rescue Mimi and make sure that the bad guys don't get the red dragon rod. She's like, all right, I guess I can do that. I could kill him too. She's like, no, don't kill him. Just rescue him and rescue Mimi, and we go from there. And he's like, okay. And so they all team up, chat. Oh, meanwhile, Jeremy Irons, he's also making his appeal to the Mage Council again. And he's also like, oh, Princess Savina's there to state her case. She's saying, like, look, guys, we should enact these reforms. It's the right thing to do. They're equals. Let's just do it. The Mage is like, fuck that. Fuck those mud people. We're not doing that. Jeremy Irons is like, hey, man, listen to them. But you should just abdicate the throne and give me the gold dragon rod. She's like, I won't do that. And he's like, all right, then it'll be war. And then now eventually chat's like, oh, here's the stakes now. A rebellion is brewing. The Mages and Jeremy Irons are one side and Princess Savina is on the other side. It's about to get nasty. But we're not going to focus on that right now. We're going to come back to our intrepid explorers and adventurers trying to find Mimi. And so they find the location of her. She's actually at this castle. And Marlon Wayans and Ridley are the only ones to go. Not the dwarf, not the hot elf girl. Because the hot elf girl says, like, no. Despite having this army, I wouldn't say army, squad, legion of soldiers with me, who could definitely take these guys, because they're not that tough, honestly. Fucking Marlon Wayans was kicking their ass before. They need to do this on their own. And you stay back here too, dwarf guy, because the audience is kind of tired of you. And he's like, okay. I'm serious, Jeff. They just choose not to do anything. And so Ridley and Marlon Wayans infiltrate the castle, and that's when we get, a little heart-to-heart with them. Because then it's like, oh, it's setting up the stakes here, guys. And it is not fucking subtle. Because, Ridley is like, Marlon Wayans, be careful. And Marlon Wayans is like, I'll be careful, Ridley. And then bonks his head on a piece of wood. It's like, oh, okay, comic relief. I get it. Great. But, set up the stakes here, guys. Oh! Gerald, thank you for the 245 biddies! How I wonder what you are. Ah! Thank you so much. That's another one. That's added to it, guys. Currently sitting at, let's see. 1,295 biddies, guys. Basically $13. Only $12 away from my next stretch goal. My next voting options for you guys. That'll be a lot of fun. Thank you again, General. I really do appreciate that. Is the hentai monster a mind flayer? Maybe it's a mind flayer, Joey. By the way, Joey the Jedi, welcome to the stream, sir. Baby, good to see you. Crypto and Wildflower, how you doing? I don't know. They don't really call it anything. I just assume it's a hentai baby because it's like little hentai tentacles coming out of his ears. Maybe it's a mind flayer. It is inside his head to a degree, but it's like all over his body because he also hears the bubbly guts too with blue lips, and it goes like it's in his neck, but then it's also in his head. It's very bizarre. They don't state it, which is kind of frustrating. So we're back at the castle. Ridley, he's looking for Mimi. Marlon Wayans, he went off to look for the map, I think, because the map still has... I remember now, chat. Because the map has a location to where they have to use the ruby Dragon of Destiny jewel to get the red dragon rod. That's what it was. And so Ridley, he rescues Mimi, and like their relationship is starting to, coalesce into something more, Chad. They got feelings for each other, you can tell. And Marlon Wayans, again, he's just being goofy, very stereotypical. He manages to find the map in Blue Lips' room, but the carpet right in front of the map, Chad, is fucking quicksand. He just falls right into it. And then, Blue Lips is there. He pulls him out. He pulls Marlon Wayans out, and they start wrestling, Chad. They start fighting. Marlon Wayans getting his fucking ass kicked, but he gets a few good punches in on Blue Lips. He escapes, but Lorenzo is a little fucked up at this point. He's took one too many punches at this point. Few cuts to the face. And so he runs out of there. Ridley and Mimi, they're fighting some guys too. Again, really terrible choreography, chat. Not shot well. I mean, just not. They could have at least done a couple takes, but they're like, nah, it's fine. We're following Marlon Wayans. He's running on the castle, and then all of a sudden, just kind of stops. I guess out of exhaustion. I don't know. He's like, what do I do? And up behind him, like pretty far, like a good distance away, is Blue Lips. And it's like, okay, well, clearly Marlon Wayans, you could just run out of there. You would get away, no problem. You're clearly faster than this guy. He's pretty fucking slow. And he has a hentai baby, wearing him down. So you're good. But he's like, no, man, I gotta fight you. And he just proceeds to fight him. He pulls out like a little dagger out of his boot, and he starts, trying to fight him, but he gets his ass kicked, chat. The shit out of him, cut, punched and everything. Meanwhile, Mimi and Ridley, they also go out into the courtyard and see all this nonsense happening. And, oh yeah, Blue Lips just fucking breaks Marlon Wayans' arm. He's like, ah! Like screaming his, it's terrible. His goddamn lungs out, chat. And Ridley's like, don't you touch him. You let him go. We'll give you the ruby dragon eye thing. And he's like, all right, I'll you know what? Give me the ruby dragon eye, and I'll make sure your friend has a quick death. And he just proceeds to fucking kill Marlon Wayans. Stabs in the goddamn back. Marlon Wayans, I think Marlon Wayans throws in the map at the last second too. But Marlon Wayans, he gets stabbed and just vomiting blood and everything. It's like, it gets very graphic here, chap. And then, just to make sure that he's fucking dead, Blue Lips throws Marlon Wayans off the wall of the castle. And he lands, and it's messy. And Ridley's just like, again, this is, people's joke like, oh, Mark Hamill's no in Empire Strikes Back is like just overacting to the 10th degree. It's like, they have not seen Ridley in this goddamn movie, chat. They have not seen, what's his actor's name? Justin Whalen. Give his goddamn no, because you just see the veins, his throat just, no! And he just starts running at Blue Lips and everything. But again, he's getting his ass kicked too. He's no match for him. And Blue Lips is like, well, clearly you kind of suck. Takes his goddamn sword and fucking stabs him through the chest with it. And he's like, it's a bad stab too, because it's the kind of stab where Ridley's on his knees. And the blade kind of goes, like, into him this way, so all the way down. So it's like, ooh, that's like, you're going to cut a lot of internal organs in there. But Mimi, she's the smartest of them all. She has some good fight instincts. She chooses flight, chat. She opens up another portal, gets Ridley, and they jump through it. And Bill is like, no! But he may know at this point, where they are. And then we see Mimi reunite with the elf girl and the hot elf girl and the dwarf. They take him to the secret lair of the elves that the hot elf girl is from. And so, using magic, chat, they heal Ridley of his mortal wound. He's fine. But despite being fine, chat, he's not fine emotionally because his buddy Snails, Marlon Wayans, is dead. They made sure that motherfucker was dead too, chat. Stabbed him repeatedly through the goddamn back, threw him off the wall of the castle. He is gone forever. And so, he's being, a bit of a downer. He goes outside. He's looking at a nice CGI 95, Windows 95-esque cutscene. And then Mimi comes up behind him and is like, hey, I'm sorry about Snails, man. That was rough. And he's like, what would you know? You're a dirty mage. And they're like, why are we fighting? And they start smooching, chat, because that's where this was all building towards, that romance. That's what we needed. Marlon Wayans just needed to die in order for the smooching to happen, chat. And to be honest, it worked out. I think that was the better option at this point. Because at least Ridley and Mimi are tolerable, unlike Marlon Wayans. And they decided, okay, we got to go get the dragon rod. So they got their little elf squad with them. They got the dwarf, who's still there, by the way. I don't know why he's still in the movie, chat. There's no purpose for him being in the film. You honestly could have cut him totally out of the movie, and nothing would have changed. He got one up on the Blue Lips man, and that was it. And so they go to the location where they got to use the red jewel. And again, the weird shit where it's like, just for the sake of plot convenience, only Ridley can cross over. The other characters cannot. It's not because they say it's like, oh, you are the one who's holding the red jewel. Only you can cross over. It's like, no, you are chosen by destiny, Ridley. You are the only one that can do this. It's like, oh, fuck off. It's so lame. So he goes through the cave maze thing again. Not many traps. Like, he goes through a garbage chute and shit. Ends up in a treasure room. And he's like, oh, Marlon Wayans would have loved this, but he's dead, so fuck him. And then he finds a skeleton. A really fucked up looking skeleton holding the red dragon rod. And he's like, that's what I need. But before that, I'm sorry. In order to open the treasure room, he puts in the red ruby dragon eye, and that's what opens the treasure room up after he goes down the garbage chute. Excuse me. So that thing's gone now. But then he sees the skeleton holding the red dragon rod, and he goes up to it. He's like, oh, that's fucking ominous. And all of a sudden, the skeleton comes alive and starts talking to him. He's like, hey, man, listen. I don't know the guy's name. I have no idea what the guy, this skeleton guy. He's like, listen, I know that you're here for this red dragon rod. It's super cool, but it has a curse on it. Whoever uses it will doom themselves forever. And Ridley's like, no, that's pretty bad. But I need it, man. I gotta use this to save the kingdom of so I gotta take it. And the skeleton's like, all right, man, I fucking told you. Takes it, skeleton dies. Ridley gets out of there. But when he exits the treasure, because it just conveniently opens up another doorway right outside to where all his friends were. He goes out there and fucking, there it is, guys. Blue Lips. He's captured everyone. He's like, I want that goddamn dragon rod. You're gonna give it to me. And Ridley's like, I can't do it. I won't let that happen. And then they start tussling, chat, a lot of wrestling, everything like that. Some point during the fight, Blue Lips, he gets the dragon rod or something, and he about to hightail it back to Jeremy Irons. Meanwhile, we cut back to Jeremy Irons, who, again, the Civil War is happening, chat, in the capital of and terrible CGI. Again, this is like with the... You usually save your third act for, like, the big set piece, and the best they could do was, again, a 95, like, late 90s-esque PC game cutscene with just Jeremy Irons looking at nothing, just going, just the whole time. But all the mages have come together to fight against Princess Savina, who's using her golden dragon rod to rally an army of dragons to attack the Mage Council. And, the Mage Council's like, they're doing okay. They're holding off the dragons, but they're not going to beat them, Chad. Eventually, they will lose. They killed a few golden dragons, but they can't hold out. They need that red dragon rod. And then out walks Blue Lips, and he's got the red dragon rod. And Jeremy Irons is like, oh, you have it. Again, just like that. And he takes it from Blue Lips, and Blue Lips is like, you promised you would free me. And Jeremy Irons is like, not even looking at him. He's like, I don't really care, honestly. And Blue Lips is like, you promised. And then Jeremy Irons like uses a spell on him. And I thought it'd be kind of cool, like, if he would birth the baby, the hentai baby, but it really just kind of, I guess, kills it inside of him. Because you see the effect one more time, he goes, and you see the little veins, the vines pop out of his ears, and they go back in, and then he's okay. So I assume he just killed inside of him. So he has, like, a dead hentai baby somewhere in his body, chat. That would probably be pretty uncomfortable. I would not like that. I would prefer to have that just taken out of me completely, but Blue Lips is happy about it. And so now, Jeremy Irons has the dragon rod, and he summons an army of red dragons, and they're fucking up Savina's golden dragon army. But there is hope, chat. Despite Savina, and her army losing, despite Jeremy Irons just fucking joining himself, fucking Ridley followed Blue Lips through the same portal, even though it took him about 5 more minutes to catch up to him. He pops out, and then he's like, okay, here we fucking go. And so he gets into a duel with Blue Lips, and he's like, this is for fucking Marlon Wayans, and he kills Blue Lips, chat, stabs her right in his tum-tum where I imagine the hentai baby was, and he then throws him much in the same way. Oh no, what happens, chat? He actually stabs him in the back, like how Blue Lips killed Marlon Wayans, and then possibly through the stomach where the hentai baby was. And then he throws him off the side of the wall, just like Marlon Wayans. Poetic fucking justice, if I do say so myself. Also, Ridley's friends also jump through different portals. So you got the dwarf guy, hot elf girl, and Mimi. And Jeremy Irons is like, oh, you can't defeat me. And I think at one point through this wrestling, Ridley, he gets a hold of the red dragon rod. Oh yeah, Jeremy Irons is kicking everyone's ass too. He's using all of his magical abilities, all of the 95-esque After Effects, chat. They're all on display here. But he loses control of the dragon rod, and Ridley gets it. And Jeremy's like, oh, you can't fucking use that thing. You're just a mud person. You're just a thief, a burglar, sir. But Ridley, you with the power of grit, teeth, and determination, manages to use his innate abilities to control magic and to stop the red dragon army from attacking the golden dragon army. He's like, oh no. Jeremy's like, that can't be. But Ridley's like, you know what? I could use this to destroy you, but I'll be cursed forever. And I'm not evil like you, Jeremy Irons. And so he throws it on the ground and uses the sword and he destroys the red dragon rod, chat. And Jeremy's like, no! He does his Luke Skywalker-esque no. And I'm going to call it Darth Vader-esque no because it's really bad. I actually like Luke Skywalker's no in Empire. And then fucking Savina, they start rallying behind her and everything. The golden dragons, they start fucking up all the other mages. But Jeremy Irons is like, I'm not fucking letting this go. He starts fucking with everybody. Savina shows up on the scene, chat, and she's like, Jeremy Irons, what did you do? You have to stop this. Jeremy's like, never. And then he summons a skeleton apparition, And very terrible effect. He starts saying nonsense and attacks Savina. Again, who's barely been in the movie, chat. I think her screen time is about 5 minutes. And she gets kind of the most important moment in the film. Where, yeah, she's fighting off the apparition. But she managed to overpower it. And then she uses her golden dragon rod to summon a golden dragon. That then proceeds to comically eat Jeremy Irons. And after that, like, peace is restored to the kingdom of... And everyone's happy, but... Not Ridley, man. He lost his best friend, Snails, played by the infamous Marlon Wayans. And so he goes to this little makeshift grave that he made him. And he's like, hey, man, you know, I'm sorry you're dead. I wish it didn't have to be this way. I've changed as a person. It's because of you, because of your sacrifice. You made me a better person. I appreciate you. And he leaves the ruby dragon eye of destiny on the little makeshift stone grave of Marlon Wayans. And all of a sudden, chat, we see some magic fairy dust. Yep. Oh, it's coming. And Snails, or, you know, Marlon Wayans' name, which is Snails in the film, it disappears across his gravestone. And it imbues itself inside the ruby red dragon eye. And it lifts up into the sky. It's like, oh, it's so magical. And Ridley grabs a hold of it. He's like, what is this? And then the hot elf girl and Mimi and the dwarf, they're like, don't question it. Just go with it. Just go with it. I'm not joking. That is what happens. And they all touch the ruby red dragon eye, and they're teleported to, I assume, a different place? Or maybe it was the curse gem. Maybe this is the curse coming back, and it just absorbed them. And now they're trapped in there forever. Like, you know, it was a goddamn trick. This was the curse. They didn't beat the curse of the red dragon rod. But they're teleported somewhere, I guess, I assume. And then the movie ends. And that's Dungeons and Dragons. That is the film. A lame fucking ending. Hey, they did a sequel, Chris Harris. They did a sequel and they did a third movie. The sequel was called Wrath of the Dragon God, which came out in 2005. And then they did a third film, which came out in 2012, called The Book of Vile Darkness. And I don't think any of these films had any relation to each other. I think one of the characters shows up in a sequel. But for the most part, yeah, that's it. It's pretty terrible.